Hello and welcome to a video from filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with a K. I'm Chris with a K. We're continuing to look at my Sonato D1 little Wi-Fi camera that is running Thingino, the free and open source firmware for it, which is just a Linux system. As I talked about in a previous video, on this device, if I was to press the button on the back after installing Thingino, it will tell me my IP address of the camera.
IP address is 192.168.1.30.
Which I found amazing at the beginning because I was just like, there's no way that there's a text-to-speech that sounds that good on a device like this because there's only 8 megabytes of storage space, 8 megabytes of flash space on this device. And that's pretty good voice to text. And yes, it's not being done on the camera, it's being done remotely. So I need to find a program. There is a script on here, it's just a shell script called tell. Now, the way I found it, although it's probably documented, but I like to poke around and stuff, I pressed the button on the device, and then I ran PS to see the current running processes. So I'll do that, run that.
IP address is 192.168.1.30.
Okay, and you'll see here that just looking through the last few commands, we have this tell command right here with the variable IP. Then we have a curl command and this ICA. This is the script that's running when you press that button. It calls curl, and then this is the audio player that plays the audio that it retrieves from the curl command. And in a previous video, I showed you that I changed it to use eSpeak off my own server rather going out to the web. Let's look at this a little bit more. If I use Vi and I go into spin, and I go into that script of tell, we can see the script. This is the entire script right here. The first line here is just basically a config file. It holds some variables that they use in lots of scripts, so they just put it in there. So that's just loading that. Nothing too important. But here, this next section, this is just the usage text. Then we have a case statement that if you pass it the variable for IP, it will get your IP address and then put that as the phrase. Here it's getting the date. And then here, if you don't ask for the IP address or time, you can put in whatever phrase you want. So none of this is truly that important. Really, the main part of this command is this curl command here. It's using curl to go to the Thingino website to a script called say, and it's passing its phrase, and that website's going to dump out a WAV file, which we then will pipe into an audio player, and then after that we just exit. So again, that's going out to them, and I asked them, and I'm sure it's written down somewhere, but I asked in their chat room, and they said that it's just a proxy that's going out to Google, which is fine, but let's say you don't want it to go out to Google for whatever reason, because there we go. Or you just want to play with it like I did. I wanted to see if I can get eSpeak going on it. But again, not on the device because there's only 8 megabytes of storage space on there. But I just wanted to change their script slightly. So if I was to move into that sbin directory, I can copy my tell new into their tell, okay? And now we can vi tell. And the only thing I changed was the server it's going to. So I changed it as a variable. So it's still, the script is the same, but we're using a variable for server. I've commented out their server and put in mine to an old ThinkPad I have on the other side of the room. So now I can press that button on the back of the device.
IP address is 192.168.1.30.
Now again, eSpeak doesn't sound as good, but definitely, a more free option, and again, running on my local network on my own devices without going out to the web, just across my own network. And again, you can pass it any phrase. I can say, hello world.
Hey, hello world.
And, hello world, let's do it again.
Hello world.
And I can say, Films by Chris is awesome.
Films by Chris is awesome.
So we've looked at their script, and again, I changed it. I wanted to modify just the server, so I wrote a script that is compatible with that. Again, it's running on an old ThinkPad on the other side of the room, and I'm just running BusyBox as a web server, and this is the entire script right here. This first part right here, this is just saying whenever you're running a script on a server using BusyBox, and you put them in the CGI bin, It can be a Bash script, Python script, whatever script. It could be a compiled C program. But the first thing you need to do is tell the web client that's connecting what type of file this is. So that's what this content type is. Most time it's going to be plain text or HTML text. In this case, it's an audio file because we are just dumping raw audio, and in this case, not just audio, it's a WAV file. Then you always just need an empty line before you start outputting information. This line right here is looking at all the variables passed in the URL. We're grabbing one called Q, and in here we're cleaning it up because we're passing it in the URL, so any special characters or spaces are going to be encoded as a URL. And you don't want eSpeak to read that because instead of space, it will say like %20 and a lot of other things for other special characters. This command here will clean it up. So that's all we're doing with these two lines is we're getting the variable Q, we're cleaning it up. Then we're passing it to eSpeak. We're saying eSpeak, the phrase that we're passing, and we're piping it a standard out, which would give you a WAV file that does work, but the bit rate is wrong. So when you do it on the camera, it sounds really slow. So all I'm doing is piping it into SOX. I'm saying take the standard input. We're going to use the T for type, WAV, standard output. We're going to make it a one channel because it's a mono speaker on the camera. And then we're going to set the rate to 6,000. And that's it. And any web client, you can go to this in a web browser and it will just dump a WAV file, right? It will be like downloading a WAV file. But in this case, it's dumping it back to the device and playing it through a media player. And again, that's what, if we go back into Tel and we go down here, again, that's all it's doing. We're passing it a phrase as a variable Q. Once it returns a WAV file, we're piping that raw WAV file into this IAC, which is a media player on the camera itself. I'm not sure what the -S option is. I bet if I was to exit out of here and type in IAC, use standard in for audio input. And that's it. Super simple. And again, if you check out the links in the description of this video, I have a GitLab project going where I'm keeping all the notes and scripts I write for this camera, and I'm just playing around. I'm having fun with this. I highly recommend getting either this device or something similar. Again, $10, shipped to my house, got here in 2 days. All I had to do was put the firmware image on a SD card, stick it in the camera, and turn it on. It flashes automatically, and now I have a little Linux device that I can play around with. I thank you for watching. Again, visit filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with a K. There'll be a link in the description of my website. There you can search through all my videos, scripts, projects, and I just thank you for watching. I hope that you have a great day.